Oh. Hello, you boring lot. What a weekend we've had. Arsenal lose, Man City win. We're choking, we're bottling it. Everyone hates us. Just the life of an Arsenal fan. Thankfully, I was working this weekend because, so for those of you who don't know, I teach gymnastics. And if you check my posts on the YouTube homepage, I do like a little feature called Hot Stuff, which is a sort of an homage, if you like, or a homage to Fever Pitch, where I write a reflection of the game and whatever. And thankfully, this week, I was working. I'm a gymnastics coach, so I was working away in Swindon this weekend. The kickoff, I started working at 12, and the kickoff was 12:30. So thankfully, I did not get to watch the absolute shambles that took place against Bournemouth. So here we are. Let's start the weekend debrief. I'm looking very glum, and there's loads of cherries in the background because we choked on them, didn't we, guys? If we're being completely honest with ourselves. So let's make a start. And before I do, salute you, Mr. Chris Welch. Hope you enjoyed some of my content over the weekend. I was quite proud of it, I must say. But yeah, let's make a start then. I'm going to talk about Bournemouth first because that is pretty much the only place to start. Bournemouth, we lost 2-1. And Bournemouth have been a bogey team for us now for a while. We've lost three of the last 5 games against Bournemouth, and they just seem to have our number, irrespective of whether it's Eddie Howe or Iriola who they've got in right now. Chris, if it's going to be like that, mate, you're going to have to take a walk, my friend. All right. But I like I said, I missed the game. So it took me until Monday morning, literally, while my kids were doing their bits. So they had their free time this morning before I took them to school. I had 20 minutes and I watched Match of the Day, the Arsenal section of Match of the Day. And it was obviously and rightfully horrible. The first goal we conceded was a dodgy deflection of Saliba, and Kruppi Jr. is there to pick up the pieces. Happens. The pen was a definite pen, and by the way, what a penalty it was from Gyökeres. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I suppose I'm going to talk about the more topical issues here, in that Zubimendi was at fault again for the goal. And this seems to be part of a wider issue for Arsenal right now, in that we have massive issues in the centre of the pitch. The defence isn't connecting with the attack. We can talk about the attack being a little bit, I don't know, barren, but there is no link up in the middle. And Zubimendi appears to be a part of that, right? He was at fault for the second goal. He didn't watch his man run past him, and it was a great finish, sent Raya the wrong way. Can't complain about the goal itself, but Zubimendi has to do better there. But that seems to be a thing because I'm pretty sure he did the same thing against Southampton the week before. He didn't track his man. And the form just isn't good enough. And what that means is whoever it is, whether it's Odegaard in the 10, whether it's Eze in the 10, and then Rice in the 8, they are having to drop back to cover that position, which means there's a massive hole where Arsenal are vulnerable. And then you've got the attackers having to come into the pitch to try and do something about it. And I feel sorry for them. I don't think, Madueke or Trossard or Martinelli, for example, are world beaters. But they're having to cover more because of the gap in the middle. And then Gyökeres, oh mate, listen, I will never tolerate any slander for Gyökeres. That guy has been incredible for us, irrespective of whether he's had to have low touches, high touches, whether he's messed up a couple of times. That guy has 18 goals and 2 assists in this system. He's got 20 GA this season, the highest of any attacker under Arteta since he took over as a new signing or whatever. And without him, we would be in huge trouble. I will not tolerate any Gyökeres slander. He did miss a sitter, right? Granted, at the end, and he was offside, touch and go offside. And people are digging him out for that. Oh, well, he should have been onside. He should be getting 3 or 4 of those a game. you know, not one, and well, you should have done better with that one. He should be getting 3 or 4 of those balls a game because that's the type of player he is, running in behind. So play to the guy's strength. They're not playing to his strength. And that's why we ended up where we were. 1-1 and then a 2-1 when the attacker ran off Zubimendi, and that's the outcome. So it's so frustrating because that should have been avoidable. Let me just have a look at what Chris is saying here. Zubimendi will come good sometimes, take them more than a season to settle into a Premier League. He's at 8 for me, not a DM. Do you know what? I don't mind backtracking a little bit. I don't think Zubimendi is a bad player. I think he's overwhelmed in the Premier League. I don't think he's strong enough. And you know, when I say strong enough, I mean, look, I know he's not a big guy and he's not built like a tank, right? He's not like, I heard someone say on the radio the other day that they thought we were signing like a Gundogan. Yeah. Well, that guy was a world-class player, and we were so excited to be signing that type of striker, that type of midfielder, right? We thought we were signing that kind of Gundogan type, not big but compact, strong on the ball, could turn and run, turn and move, release the ball fast, line-breaking passes, all of the key buzzwords that you want for that kind of midfielder. And he hasn't done that, and he is, for me, overwhelmed, and he's isolated, and he doesn't really know how to cope with that positioning. And I agree with you. I'm not sure he's a defensive midfielder, but I also don't know where he gets into this team then. And actually, you know, I said that Odegaard's been dropping in. I think Odegaard personally would do a better job of him than him there. All right. And that's why I think Odegaard has had so much slander this year, because he's had to drop in and fill that gap. And so we're having what we're seeing right now, in that we have this massive gap in midfield. The 10 has had to drop, and they're trying to play the line breaking passes because Zubimendi isn't doing it. And that almost feels like the story of our season. Absolutely can't slander Gyökeres. Arteta hasn't done good enough of him. And can you imagine if we had someone who knows what they're doing with an attack? And this leads me on to another point, Chris. Arsenal have not coped or dealt with the loss of Carlos Cuesta at the end of last season. Arsenal were more fluid in attack. I'm not saying it was perfect, not by a long stretch, but Arsenal were more fluid in attack when Carlos Cuesta was here. He's gone now. He's managing his own team. And who did we replace him with? Gabriel Heinze. Again, no problem with replacing him with Gabriel Heinze, but where is the attack-minded coach? Arteta was essentially a defensive midfielder, right? So his first thought is defend. Gabriel Heinze, defend. Then you've got like the set piece coach, right? Well, he's only really looking at attack from positions of dead ball, right? So it's such a mess going forward. And we've got a gift in Gyökeres who has managed 18 goals and then 2 assists. He's on 20 GA for the season in a system that is so counter Gyökeres. And yet here he is still thriving and doing, as far as I'm concerned, a great job. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he's doing a great job. And I'm really grateful for that. The irony is, though, I'm saying all of these things. The irony is that our XG were higher, and you know that it's bad when we've got this high XG, but it still looks tame. It still looks dull. I watched Match of the Day, and it showed all of our, obviously Match of the Day only shows the best parts, right? And in the attack, some of the things we saw actually I thought will look pretty good, but it's only snippets, and it's not enough, and it's not going to get us over the line in this title race. And obviously serious concerns about the title race now. What's Chris saying about Wirtz? I know this might not be a good comparison, but when Wirtz first came to Premier League, he was so weak physically. Now he's getting stronger. That's what Zubimendi needs to do to get physically. He needs to get physically stronger. But I mean, Wirtz might have got stronger, but I still don't think he's having for me anyway, I'm not sure if he's having an impact. Like, it might be a stretch, but as a Liverpool fan, I think I'd be more disappointed with Wirtz than I would be as an Arsenal fan with Zubimendi, because we got Zubimendi at least his buyout clause. You guys spent way over, I think, for Wirtz, and he might come good, but my God, embedding him in the team has meant that you've essentially been the worst defending Premier League winners ever, and you're you kind of building this team around Wirtz potentially. You've got the boy Rio, is that his name, coming off the bench? He's looking pretty decent. But your best player is Szoboszlai. You should be building your team around him, I reckon. But yeah, absolutely. Gyökeres, put our nose out to use Gyökeres better. And your defence has been good all season, but it's becoming exposed due to Arteta setup inviting pressure on the defence. Exactly. And there's and because of that gap in the middle where Zubimendi doesn't look comfortable, it's just piling on more pressure because the midfield isn't doing its job essentially. And I think, Rice is a stoic hero, right? He's stoic. He has great moments on the pitch where you see great tackle by Rice. And this isn't a criticism of Rice, but Rice is doing a lot of nothing because he's not able to do his everything because he's having to come back and cover. And the double pivot is essentially Rice covering Rice. And that's what we're seeing. It's a shambles. So it is super frustrating, and like I said previously, I feel like I'm getting 2011 deja vu, where within 2 weeks our season's going to be over, and I think rightfully they're going to be asking serious questions about the manager. There's been talks about Arteta getting a new contract, and it's just wild to me. It's just wild to me that they're talking about giving Arteta a new contract now, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did. And I think that's disappointing. I always try and be objective, and I hope that's coming across. I'm definitely disappointed, but don't mistake my passion for sort of like just throwing daggers for the sake of it. But they're offering Arteta a new contract, and that's wild to me. I'm not an Arteta out, or I'm not the type of person who shouts it from the rooftops, but I don't see how you could reward this. I don't think Arteta is a fraud, but I do think if he doesn't get the job done this season, he has failed. Right? And that would be, for me, the first actual bottle. Right? The other three I think are questionable, but this one I think is a genuine bottle, and you can't be giving him a new contract, or I think even letting him continue in this job personally, if he does not win the Premier League this year. For me, that would be the right time to say, thank you, you've taken us as far as you can take us. It's time to go a different way. And the reason why I say that is, in that first season, 22-23, I think it was, where we came second, everyone was surprised that we were there. Nobody thought that we'd be able to do that, right? So it was almost like Nosebleed FC. We finished second in the Premier League, Nosebleed FC, we go again next season. 23-24 season, where Arsenal were at their best under Arteta. For me, Arsenal went toe-to-toe with Man City in the final 19 games of the season, lost one, draw one, and Man City won the title. I can live with that. Last season, Liverpool blew everyone away, and Arsenal had a series of injuries, and I think some very questionable decisions. You can call me better, but that's what I think, right? So, although I was angry about last season, I don't believe I could pin that solely on the players or the team. But this season, this for me would be the first genuine bottle job. Arsenal not getting the job done when they should get the job done. Best team, squad depth, all that narrative that's been spilled to us. Even the media was saying this is Arsenal's year, and Arsenal don't get the job done. For me, that is a sackable offence. And even if he does win the league from this position, I still wouldn't be giving him a new contract. The only way that he gets a new contract that goes beyond 2027 is if the football changes. And I do not see the football changes unless someone is brought in to actually replace Carlos Cuesta. Because otherwise, this football is going to look the same, because as far as Arteta is going to be concerned, it worked, right? But that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable because you can see how it's falling apart right now. We might get past Sporting, but we could equally not. And if we do, then the season really is over. I think Arsenal could out-defend Man City next Sunday, but I don't necessarily see them winning that game either. More likely a draw, because I think defensively Arsenal are better than Man City. Man City are a better attacking wise, so it's like a clash of the irresistible force and the immovable object. And for me, I think it could end in a draw. If it ends in a draw, that still favours Arsenal, obviously. But even so, I wouldn't predict an Arsenal win. It'd be a draw or a loss, wouldn't it? And so we are in that kind of position now where it is feeling. I've lost my trail of thought now because my boy is here. Sorry, let me go. Draw is so right. Okay, so that's a typo. Draw is cope. It's win or bust. Right? Yeah. No, I don't disagree. But the point I was trying to make was, I can't see us winning, and nor can you. I know you can't. Right? I can't see us winning. I just can't see us getting a win there. And like I said before, I think our defense is better, but attacking they are better, and it's going to be one of those. It's going to be a clash in the middle. But we've got such a massive hole in the midfield because everyone's covering for Zubimendi right now, that I just see us being overrun, and we could be hit for 3, couldn't we? Like, let's be honest with ourselves, we could be hit for 3 at this game, but I don't see Arsenal scoring 3. So it's quite tentative, isn't it? So I'm nervous because this is the point now. In the next 7 days, Arsenal season could be over. I know that you already think it's over, Darkside. I'm not there yet. I'll be there on Sunday if it happens. But it's like I said, to come back to my main point, if that happens, then Arteta can't be here next season. And I like Arteta, but if we don't win the next 2 games, the season's over, and so is his Arsenal career. As far as I'm concerned. If you're here, please don't forget to like the stream. It helps the channel grow, and please subscribe as well. We're getting our pants pulled down, mate. Bonnie Blue says, ay. Is she even a Man City fan? I thought it was that Elbrook that was a Man City fan. Oh dear. Shouldn't come down to the final 2 months of the season. 2 months of the season? Are you talking about over the whole season, Arsenal should be the better team? I think, there's an argument to be said that, but Arsenal have had the best results over the whole season, you could say, but they haven't had the best football or the best building of encouragement, I don't think. So I'm gonna talk about. I've talked about the Bournemouth game. I've talked about Arteta. I'm just going to talk about the Man City banter yesterday at the Chelsea game. At no point did anyone. I'm assuming that nobody said that or thought that Chelsea were going to beat Man City. So let's just lay that on the table to begin with, right? The Man City bottle thing, right? So for those, if you haven't seen it, it's a Man City fan drinking a bottle of water that's Arsenal, and obviously the message is Arsenal are bottling it. I actually thought it was quite funny, right? Like, that's the type of thing that we want to see in football, right? That's funny. But there was people really getting angry about it on social media and saying that, Arsenal fans, if this was an Arsenal fan, this is premature celebrating and all this kind of nonsense. I can't stand that, right? That's funny. Laugh at it because it is what it is. The only thing I will say is, having watched it back, there are rumours going around that he was a Sky plant and he'd been planted to do that if Man City were winning. And when you watch it back, and I watched it back quite a few times, it does look like he's looking at the camera as if to say, do I need to keep going? Should I keep pretending to drink this water bottle? And then later on, he had like a wardrobe change as well. But in principle, I don't know why people are getting upset with that. That's good banter. That's good banter. I'm here for it. It's annoying because it's us. But if we weren't in that title race and Man City fans were doing that to somebody else, I'd be going, that guy's a legend. Give him his own TV channel. That stuff is funny and we shouldn't be getting upset about it. But it does look a little bit like he could be a plant. So there is that as well. I think Chris means the league should have been wrapped up, mate. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, he's absolutely right there, Chris. If that's what you meant, I apologise. Yeah, it should have been. We should have had the job done already. We should have had the job done. If you look at some of the fixtures that we drew, the Wolves one comes to mind. The Brentford one comes to mind because we were both winning in those games. If you look at the Man United game, again, I think we were up and then a Zubimendi mistake. And then I can't remember what the second goal was, but I know there was a worldie in there as well from Cunha. So again, it's this kind of Zubimendi narrative where he's filling this hole. And I wouldn't start him against Man City. I wouldn't start MLS either. I would start Norgard in that game. Because I just think you need someone who's played minutes in the Premier League. Not this season, granted, because Nor's MLS, but someone who has played minutes in the Premier League that in that position and have done it well over a couple of seasons, and he's done that for Brentford. So I would be playing Norgard with Rice, and then whichever 10 you want to insert, probably Eze. And that would be the midfield that I'd go with. I just don't see how the guy's broken. He's clearly a capable footballer, but his confidence is shot. He's confident in his shot. It's not there. And he's dilly-daddling over the ball. He's making silly mistakes. He didn't watch the runner against Bournemouth, and that's how they scored their second goal. So I wouldn't be starting Zubimendi in that game. Yeah, I meant Arsenal. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay. That should make Arsenal upbeat more, seeing that. Seeing. Oh right, I see what you mean. Yeah, you're thinking about the bottle now. So Arteta's going to be playing Blue Moon at practice with a TikTok video of the man just celebrating drinking a water bottle for the next week. I mean, I guess that's possible. It's the type of thing Arteta would do, and I don't actually care. I don't actually care about the things that Arteta does in practice. He's had a lot of criticism over the last week for like holding pens and shit like that. I don't care about that type of stuff. That's pretty standard. My brother's played semi-professional football, and I spoke to him about it. And my brother was actually quite a good footballer. He was a goalkeeper. He was good to the point where he was training with Watford when Sean Dyche was there. So early in Sean Dyche's career, my brother had to retire at 21 because his hips gave out, and he's a goalkeeper, so that was the end of him, right? But he was a super talented goalkeeper, and he was training with Watford. And he said that they'd be doing random things, like just random things, because it broke the ice at the beginning of practice, right? And so I don't really care for that kind of stuff. It's just what people do. There's a video of Liverpool players like playing some clappy game, but it wouldn't be surprising if Arteta was playing Blue Moon and had the TikTok video of that man drinking his Arsenal water bottle. But c'est la vie, that's football, isn't it? That people are going to try and find creative ways to G up a team. We can't all be Deserby walking around a dressing room and slapping everyone. But we need to talk about Spurs at some point as well. Zubimendi's on purple arrow, mate. Pro Evolution. Yeah, he is. He's overplayed. And he's overwhelmed. When he started off in August and September, there's only a few people, right? I think Lee Gunner was one of them. I remember watching one of his streams right at the beginning of the season where he said that he wasn't press resistant, and he has a point. But August and September, we were like, okay, yeah, this is looking good. But as the season goes on, and I don't like making excuses because he's a professional footballer. But he has played. There are all the things that you could say that have already been said. Played more games than he's used to. Blah 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 blah. Right. But at the end of the day, he is on a purple arrow, and so you need to bring in someone with experience and who is unlikely to be ruffled. You could say that MLS might be that guy, but I think he's shown himself to be a bit of a ruffler as well. And that's not a criticism because he's 19. So who do you bring in? You bring in someone who has been spoken about really well at the club. Always trains well, consummate professional, blah, blah. That person. You bring in Norgard next to Rice, and I think you see a different game. I'm not suggesting that we go out and win it and we blast them away, but I think you'll see a more confident midfield performance, which I think will take the pressure off the defence and will also allow the 10 to move forward and express himself with the attack. And that's how I feel about that. People are saying, when have we ever seen a good game with Martinelli, Madueke, and Gyökeres? Well, yeah, because there's no one to link them up. There's no one to link the midfield to the attack because they're all dropping back because they're having to cover for a 6 who is not playing well. Rice is constantly looking over his shoulder. He's not carrying the ball like he did last season. Odegaard is becoming a deep line playmaker. Eze doesn't know what to do because he's not used to having to work this hard for other people because he's normally the main event. So there's a massive hole in the middle, and that's why. I'm going to just move on because I'm just going to rant. But the other thing I was going to talk about, how am I doing for time? Okay, good. Has anyone noticed how other fans hate Arsenal more than they love their own club? I would love to hear some thoughts on this. Like, genuinely, I would love to hear some thoughts on this because no matter what I do, no matter what social media I go on, no matter what radio, no matter what podcast, no matter what YouTube channel I listen to, if they're not Arsenal fans, and I don't listen to many because I'm only really interested in Arsenal fans, people hate Arsenal more than they love their own clubs. Rory Jennings on TalkSports talking about celebrating a Man City win. Andy Goldstein, I would rather not make the Champions League if it meant Arsenal don't win the Premier League. O'Hara, documented, right? I don't get it. Well, do you know what, mate? Your mate is a famous bellend then. That's exactly what he is. I don't care if he is the nicest bloke in the world and he pays money to charity. Your mate is a bellend and he is not a serious fan, right? He's not a serious fan. He's a bellend. I would never, ever, right, want Arsenal to lose. I don't care. I don't care what it means for Tottenham. I don't care what it means for Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Liverpool. I don't give a shite, right? Don't care. I do not want Arsenal to lose any game they play because I love my club more than I hate any other team in the league, right? Someone was saying to me, oh, yeah, but if it meant losing to West Ham and Tottenham go down, you'd want Arsenal to lose. No, I fucking wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Don't tell me what I think, all right? Don't tell me what I think. I don't care out of West Ham and Tottenham who goes down, right? Would I prefer it to be Tottenham? Absolutely. But am I wishing Arsenal lose a game to Tottenham go down? Absolutely not. Sorry, mate. I'm not a bell end. I'm a serious fan. I love my club. I love my club more than I hate Spurs, right? So, sorry, but absolutely not. That's not me. Go and find somebody else. I fell out with someone on the group chat as well over it. Bell end. I'm sorry. He was talking about doing knee slides when Chelsea went 3-0 down. And I was like, mate, you're not serious. You're not a serious Arsenal fan, mate. I'm sorry, you're not a serious Chelsea fan. Don't ever talk to me about topics in football ever again and expect me to take you seriously because you don't even take your club seriously, right? I'm not interested. Your mate's a famous bed end dark side. As much as I can't stand some Arsenal fans, I wanted us to beat Man City back in January for our Champions League hopes. Exactly. These people were saying to me, right? So the people that I was arguing with, and this is online as well, this is in my group chat. These people were saying to me, well, if we're going to finish seventh, we might as well throw the game against Man City. I don't understand that mentality. All right. I've watched my club suck for 20 years, right? And I'm talking largely about the Wenger banter years as well, when he was spending $1 million on Yaya Sanogo because we had no money, right? And I watched my club try every year when we were banter. There is absolutely no way from throwing any, even when Tottenham were in the Champions League final. I can remember people saying to me, would you take this if it meant Tottenham didn't win the Champions League? And I was like, listen, mate, if Tottenham win the Champions League, I'm going to be devastated. But I'm not gambling away anything Arsenal for the sake of Tottenham being successful or not successful, right? I never want my club to lose, ever. I don't care what it means for Tottenham. I don't care if it means we lose to West Ham and Tottenham go down. I don't want us to lose to West Ham because I want us to beat West Ham. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because you guys have gone a little bit quiet on me, right? What are you saying? If Arsenal, would you ever want to see Arsenal lose? All right. And don't say to me because you want to get the manager out. I don't want to hear that nonsense, right? In a game context, if Arsenal lose means something bad for another team, are you having it? I would love to know. Gunnar Rican, mate, listen, you're my hero, Gunnar Rican. Thank you for being here. I think this is the first time I've seen you in my chat as well. So I appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribing, please do. It'd be amazing. And please like the stream. But let me tell you, my brother, listen, I don't want my team to lose. I don't understand the mindset. I don't understand. And listen, Arsenal, my dad was born in 50. My dad was born in 1950. So he's seen Arsenal be shit a lot more than he's seen Arsenal be good. Right. He was talking about there was like a 20-year period where Arsenal did basically nothing. Right. And I'm rereading Fever Pitch. Right. Because I feel like I am reliving the Fever Pitch years and 2011. Right. I've seen some shite. And so's my dad. And I just did never want to see my team lose a game if it meant another team suffered. I just don't care. Completely agree, mate. Along our teams. So that's it. That's it. I want my team to be successful. And the reality is that my team is probably going to be unsuccessful again this year in terms of the trophies. And, finishing second is great, right? But you're still first loser, aren't you? We are going to be in the Champions League. That's wonderful, right? But Man City could win a domestic treble and they've been shit. They've been shit. And they could win a domestic treble. I mean, then we're expected to copium it and be like, okay, we'll give Arteta a new contract. No. If Arteta wins the league, let him see out his contract, right? But do not give him a new contract unless he starts playing like prime Barcelona next year. And like I said before, if you've just dropped in the chat, Chris has heard me say it. Sorry, Chris, if I sound like a bloody echo. But I do not want to see a new contract unless he brings in someone who actually replace Carlos Cuesta. Gabriel Heinze is not a replacement of Carlos Cuesta. He's a defensive coach. We need an attacking coach. I never predict a loss on my channel. I've taken banter out of the yin yang. So what? still back us. My man. And thanks for that, bro. And if I'm not, I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribing to you, my brother, but I'll double check. And if I'm not, I will make sure that I do that. What we got here? I was so happy we beat Fulham at the weekend. It seems like we haven't won in months. I can be happy we won a game. Chris, I feel for you, mate. I feel for you, my friend, because Liverpool were riding high last year, and they enjoyed it, I think, a little bit too much, didn't they? Like, they were kind of like, there's that Liverpool fan, and I know it was good banter because I just bigged up the Man City fan for it. But there was that Liverpool boy with his Arsenal tears bottle, and he drank it, and he was giving it all this top wanker, but good banter. So I feel for you, but only to a little bit, man, because that guy rattled me. I'm not going to lie. I normally find that type of thing funny, but that guy pissed me off proper. But yeah, Liverpool have got to do something this year because they've got to make Champions League, or they're in big trouble financially, probably because they spent so much money last summer. And they're going to have to reinforce, aren't they? Luckily, you got that boy Rio, so you don't need to do too much on the right wing. Or whichever wing he plays on, because it looks like he can do anything, that boy. But you are going to have to reinvest in your squad. And if you don't make Champions League, that's a big financial downfall from winning the league and doing quite well in the Champions League last year. So you guys are going to have to rack it up because, otherwise it could be a quiet summer. You're already losing Salah on a 3B, which is great for the wages, but not great because you've got no incoming. So that's going to be interesting because and you're losing Andrew Robertson on a free as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how you guys are going to recoup some of that so you can spend more. You're not going to have to spend anything on attack. You need to build everything around Szoboszlai as far as I'm concerned because he's incredible. And you're going to have to do something about defence because I don't think you can go Konate and Virgil van Dijk again. Kerkez hasn't set the world on fire. And Frimpong looks a bit of a defensive liability and is not available that often. So you guys have got a lot going on. I don't even know what you're going to do in the summer. For me, Arteta bottles, he gets sacked. If he's coming to the Prem, then it's a dub. Yeah, see, this is what I'm trying to say to you, Dark. So we have definitely different ways of feeling about it, but the outcome is the same. If Arteta bottles, and this would be the first time I actually think Arsenal would bottle the Premier League. I know that people are going to tear me apart for that, but I genuinely believe that, and I have explained it previously. But if he does not win this Premier League, that is a sackable offence. If he does win the Premier League, he only gets a new contract if the football changes next year. And if he does that, he's got to bring in a new assistant manager because Carlos Cuesta, we've clearly suffered not having Carlos Cuesta. Yeah, our fans had Arteta in bridesmaid dress last season as well. Fuck off, Chris. Liverpool won a title. They are now mid and want the manager out. Yeah, well, this is it. And Chris, do you want Slot out, by the way? Because you're one of the honest ones. My brother-in-law is a Liverpool fan, and I can't ask him for anything because he's biased. But you're honest, Chris. Give me what your thoughts are. We are still hyping up a manager who only won an FA Cup. Big clubs move forward, not hold on for hope. Yeah, I can't disagree, Gunnar Recon. And this is literally what Darkside says. This is literally like a Darkside mantra. You can't celebrate something that happened 6 years ago anymore. And I'm with him. You can't celebrate something that's happened that far in the past now. There has to be an immediacy. And while I love what Arsenal do defensively, because I was a central defender growing up. I loved being a defender. I watched Gabriel and I'm like, you're the man, right? He still has some bozo moments, but I love him, right? Tony Adams was my idol growing up. I wanted to be Tony Adams. So I love what we do defensively, but we can't keep living off something that happened because we're good defensively now. Yeah. Finishing second year after year is great financially, right? But it is not it's good financially for the club. But for Arsenal fans, I'm on a waiting list for a season ticket. That cost me £50 just to go on the waiting list. I'm on my red membership, and I'm desperately trying to get a ticket every week. Arsenal are making so much money off the fans that there needs to be a bit more of an urgency. And in my opinion, renewing Arteta's contract at this point would be settling, unless there is something that comes from it. I don't dislike Arteta. I don't hate Arteta. There are lots to do, and that's fine because they're entitled to their opinions. It's not for me to tell someone how to fan their club. That's bullshit, right? But if you're going to support if I'm going to support my club, I have the right to support my club my way. But that I'm investing a lot in that as well. So the club need to do a little bit more, I think, in terms of urgency. And if you rehire Arteta on a better contract, because that's what he'll get, and a longer contract, because that's what he'll get, then I think that shows they're settling unless he gets a Premier League over the line. Let's catch up. Chris hates Slot and Gakpo. Right. Noted, Chris. I remember this. To be fair, I remember when they were singing Gakpo from the rooftops, and he just has not. He had his opportunity this year to become a main man with Douglas Luiz going, and wow, what a miss Luiz has been, by the way. Major drop the ball moment for me. I know they had to recoup some money because of the outlays, but my God, Luiz has been better than both. Luiz is better than Ekitike and Isak, isn't he? At the moment, I know that Isak's come back from injury, but my God, you'd have Luiz over both of them, in my opinion. I don't. I don't hate Slot. I put more blame on the players. They got away with murder. I want Slot gone because they're not listened to anymore. That's all. I'm still respecting Slot for the title. I think that's reasonable. I don't think you can disagree with that. To be fair. What more? Slot did you the solid. He's got the same amount of Premier Leagues as Klopp, hasn't he? So Slot did a great job in that last season. He blew Arsenal away. Arsenal weren't even in touching distance. I wanted to be like Ronaldinho. I'm all. I don't know where this has come from. Oh, right. I see what you mean. Because I was talking about being Tony Adams. Right. Okay. Right. In which case, if you're like a fat Sambi Lacombe, I'm like a past it Pascal Segon. All right. Oh, dear. Gakpo made me lose my voice, him staying on the pitch instead of Rio. Mate, listen. You guys feel about Rio the way Arsenal fans feel about Dalman. Get the ball in the pitch and then run around like a headless chicken. All right. Arsenal, for example, I can only speak for Arsenal because I don't watch Liverpool enough, mate, so I'm not going to lie, but I did see enough of Rio. Dalman comes on and he does not do the defensive responsibilities. And in front of Ben White, that's a problem. In front of Timber, he's going to have fun. And that's ultimately what needs to happen with Dalman. Don't give him defensive responsibilities right now. Don't let him be part of your system. Just let him be a free roam. I don't hate him. I just don't think he's good enough. Wait, who are we talking about now? Oh, I'm sorry, got Gunnar Rican. I've lost you now. I'm not sure who we're talking about. I hate Arteta. He's a megalomaniac and he thinks he's better than. Wait, who's? Oh wait, yeah. All right, okay, I've made a mistake there. He's a lunatic and he thinks he's better than he is. Right, okay, I need to think about that. I don't think he's a megalomaniac. I don't think he's a lunatic. I think he's. I think. Who did I say this to the other day? I think I was on Shane the Gooner's stream, and I said to him, I actually think he's on the spectrum. And I'm not saying that as a pass or anything like that. I'm not trying to give him excuses. I genuinely look at him and think, and I used to be an English teacher, guys, and I work with kids. That's my job. And so I work with a lot of kids with special needs. And sometimes I look at him and I think, do you know what? He looks to me like someone who is on the spectrum. He has mannerisms of autism. That's just my opinion, And like I said, it's not a criticism, but the way that he carries himself, I think sometimes, and when he's like smiling with the cameras and talking to the media, it's a type of thing that it looks forced to me. Not because I think he's forcing it, but it's the type of thing that people on the spectrum do. And disagree, agree, disagree, whatever, it's fine. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, Luis Diaz, not Douglas Luiz, bro. I am so sorry. But yes, I meant Luis Diaz, and what a player Luis Diaz is. Douglas Luiz is also very good, and to be fair, he might be a better partner for Szoboszlai, because I don't think your boy McAllister's been very good this year personally, especially since January. But yeah, Luis Diaz, he is a player, and you're going to have him over over Ekitike and Isak right now, aren't you? I don't like how this manager used players to save his image, then bins them. Nuneri and MLS saved him and he binned them. Norgard gets paid to smile and walk the dog. Gunnar Rica, mate, you're hitting him out the park. Look, the Nuneri and MLS thing is weird. I don't want to get onto talking about selling MLS and Nuneri too much, but the Nuneri one, I think he looks at that and he goes, I've got Dalman, and he wants to get Nuneri minutes. I don't like it. I just think that's what the thought process was. And then the MLS one is odd. isn't it? He's obviously looked at him and gone, he's vulnerable at left back, and he's brought in Hincapié. And I actually think Hincapié was probably brought in more to cover Gabriel and give another option on the left, because he's got Mosquera on the right to cover Saliba and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, the Mosquera buy was an odd one. I don't dislike the Mosquera buy because he's clearly a very good defender, but he doesn't trust MLS in midfield for whatever reason. He doesn't. You can see he doesn't. But at some point, two things are going to happen. Something's going to have to give, or he's going to get sold, right? Or the third one is that Arteta's going to go and then everything will be rosy, and the new manager will come in and decide what he wants to do with MLS, and it might be what Arsenal fans want to see. I would like to see MLS in midfield. I'd like to see him get his shot. I see him more as a natural party replacement than Zubimendi, actually, because I think he can turn on the ball. He's not very fast, is he? And so maybe being in that anchor position where he can protect the two centre-backs, but also hide some of his lack of speed vulnerability, I think would probably be quite good for him. But I think the 6 is better, but I wouldn't hate seeing him in an 8 if Rice was the 6. I don't see it happening. I don't see him playing there. And the other thing is if Arsenal are going to buy a Tonali or a Wharton or a Anderson, where does that put Miles Lewis-Skelly? Can I ask you guys a question if you're in the chat? Arsenal fans, or Chris, your opinion's valid as well here. Would you? There's a lot of noise and upset about Arsenal selling MLS and Ranieri. If Arsenal did sell MLS and Ranieri, how softened would the blow be if they replaced them with the likes of Kvaratskhelia and Julian Alvarez? And I'm not saying that they should be the players that go first. I do think Arsenal should sell other players first. But if Arsenal were to bring in Kvaratskhelia and Julian Alvarez, how much softer would the blow be? I'm interested. I don't like how this manager used players say, oh, yes, we've done a bit. And then you want to bin someone, bin Shinogard. Schnodegard, right. Bin Shy. Bin Gabby Martin. Bin No Madueke. Hang on. Bin Shinodegard. Bin Shy Havertz. Bin Gaby Martin. And bin No Madueke. I think No Madueke is the funniest one there. Shy Havertz is pretty good as well, but not and guys like White. I think White is going to have to go. His body can't cope, mate. His body can't cope. But yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. I do think there should be players that go first, right? So so players that I'm talking about that should go first, I'd be talking about. I'd be talking about Jesus. I'd be talking about Nelson, Fabio Vieira, obvious ones, I think. Martinelli or Trossard, both, I think. And then White, and then one off. I don't think he'll sell both, but one off Odegaard and Havertz. And I think I'd be leaning more towards Odegaard, because I think we've got Eze. And then that would then give the capacity for Nwaneri to come in to be the understudy for Eze. So I think I'd probably go with Odegaard on that one. Are we getting a new manager as well? The only way I see us getting a new manager is if Arteta doesn't win the Premier League or the Champions League. And if he doesn't win the Premier League and wins the Champions League, I think I might still consider getting a new manager. And like I said before, going to Recon, even if he does win the Premier League, I wouldn't give him a new contract unless the style of football changes. I'd happily take Douglas Luiz. Yeah, Douglas Luiz is a good player, and you're right. Gravenberch he's been a great player for you guys, hasn't he, over the last 18 months? But my God, he must be knackered. I could kind of forgive if he got those two. I'm so glad you said that, because I thought you were going to come for me, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? And it's kind of like, is it the big club mentality, big boy trousers stuff now, right? I've already listed the players that I think should go first, right? So you can give me that. However, right, if you are bringing in an Alvarez, a Kvaratskhelia, right, and then a Tonali, right, or someone like a Tonali who's going to come in and play instead of Zubimendi and lessen Zubimendi's minutes and maybe give him a rotation option at 8 and 10, right? If you're bringing in those players, they are immediate ceiling raisers. They don't just raise the ceiling, they break the glass ceiling. This is like Charlie in the glass elevator, right? Straight through, crash, glass shards everywhere, because they are better than Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly. And you could argue that they are already better than Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri will ever be. That's subjective because we haven't seen enough of them, right? But you could definitely make that case because they immediately go, bang, they make the team better. However, my only concern with bringing them in is Arsenal need to buy an attack coach. Oh, sorry, not buy. Arsenal need to hire an attacking-minded coach because it is so stale. And I do think it's been a kick in the nuts since Carlos Cuesta's gone. But I don't want Black Wilshere, Bakayo Lightskin, but not Saka sold. Why did you make me read that out? You're talking about Nwaneri there, right? Nwaneri is so of the two, Nwaneri is the one you would prefer to keep the most. Is that reasonable? And I've already said that. I think that I would, Eze, I think is the most. Sorry. Nwaneri, I think, is the most keepable of the two because, like I said, I would be selling one of Odegaard and Havertz, and that would then mean that Eze is the 10 for me with Nwaneri as the understudy because I don't put Nwaneri as a right winger. For me, he's a 10. But that's just my opinion. And then Dalman, for me, could come in from the right. If we got new manager Cavara and Alvarez, it would hurt, but I would accept. See, this is what I mean. I think sometimes perspective is important. I'm glad we're on the same page of this because, it's nice to feel like you've got some solidarity because sometimes you feel like you're alone, man. But the young lads being, yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. So it's the perspective, isn't it? And I think sometimes when you look back and you think, oh, yeah, they would make the team better and they're going to start and they're going to be more effective. Dark Side Guna, you could trust this Cone man to not smash their hammies. Oh, right. Could you trust this cone? Right, you're digging Arteta. Okay. And by them, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I would definitely, yeah. Well, I think Nuneri's the one, isn't he? I think Nuneri's the one. And I got one more point. Feel free to keep jumping in on the chat with what I've said. But one of the things that has been really pissing me off the last couple of weeks, really, is just the in-fan fighting. Like, it's like fans can't accept that another fan has a different opinion. Like there's Arsenal that the whole top gooner bottom gooner thing. I mostly think that stuff is nonsense. Like I'm quite happy watching a bottom gooner as much as I am quite happy watching a top gooner. I don't really consider myself at that extreme for either. I do kind of see myself as a bit of a middle of the roader, and I'll take from both sides. But the way that some people are treating each other on here is an absolute shambles. It's okay to have a different opinion, and like me and Darkside, man. We're literally light and dark because we have way different opinions about things, but like probably the best connection I made on YouTube by far. And we have completely different opinions and it's okay. Like all we are doing is feeding the media narrative of Arsenal fans and just giving people more fire for us and to slate us and slag us off. It's just ridiculous. It is weird. Oh, hang on. Oh, where are we? Let's catch up. I'm a fan of many teams. Being in America, and this fan base is the first one I've been a part of. We're a fan. Exactly, man. And I agree with you, man. It's so weird. Like it's okay for fans to have different opinions, but the way that they dig each other out here, man. I've seen some like crazy stuff. Like I've seen, and do you know what? To the point where people are being like racist and homophobic to each other, like it's wild. Or there's a lot of. I'm on X and I follow a lot of women, and some of the treatment that the women are getting just because they're like, I'd like to see Arteta leave if this doesn't happen, or I'm still behind the team, I'm still behind Arteta, and then the sexist stuff they get in. It's wild, man. The racist stuff is crazy to me, but. This is how these are Arsenal fans treating other Arsenal fans like that. It's just crazy. I just don't get it, man. Blaming fans for performances is wild. Do you know what? Not so. Yeah, people are allowed to walk out of a game, man. Like I think that's ridiculous. If you are that upset, you've invested that much money. For some people, it's a £200 trip, work day, whatever, right, to go and watch an Arsenal game. If you're that upset, you can walk with you can vote with your feet, right? But digging out a fan because of the opinion they have about the outcome of a match is absolutely ridiculous, right? And I'll give you an example. Arsenal was shit and they lost to Bournemouth, right? Bournemouth were better. But I still saw moments in the game where I thought, and I watched it back. I didn't watch it live. I watched the game back, and I still saw I still saw moments where I was like, do you know what? There's some good passages of play here. All right, but that doesn't mean that I'm sort of way out in what I'm saying. I just saw good moments, and I can say, well, that's a positive thing. You know, Gyökeres, I think, has got better and better and better. And without Gyökeres, we would have been bloody awful this year. 18 goals, 2 assists, 20 GA in this system deserves a bloody medal, right? Can you imagine, and Chris was talking about this earlier, can you imagine if we were playing to a system that suited Gyökeres? Because I can tell you right now, if Haaland played for Arsenal, he'd look like Gyökeres. He wouldn't look amazing. And I think that Gyökeres has been incredible for what he's had and what he's had available to him. Yes, he missed the sitter. I saw that. And yes, he was offside. But he should be getting 3 or 4 of those balls that he was offside for in games. He gets 1. Yeah, he should be getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those balls over the top for him to run in behind, because that's the style of football he plays. It is pathetic. It's my fault that we won only 1 match in April. Listen, mate, do better. Do better. I don't want that negativity here. It's all your fault. People being sexy about me saying I'd have the women's coach. Mate, listen. I actually remember you. I think you spoke about it, or maybe you tweeted about it. I remember reading it or something. She's got a Champions League and the Club World Cup under her off and belt. And also, have you seen that? Have you seen that a team in Germany have appointed, in the Bundesliga, I think, have appointed the first female coach ever, basically to save their season. So they've appointed her until the end of the season, and I get it, right? You know, it's not. We're still at that kind of tentative place, aren't we, where people aren't necessarily going to appoint women to manage in the men's game. Like, I get it. We're getting closer to that kind of, like, you know. But they basically appointed this woman to save their season, right? So, you know, I don't agree with you. I wouldn't put the women's coach in charge, right? Because I want to see Arteta get. This is Arteta's problem. He's got to fix it, right? But absolutely, it's stupid just to poo-poo it because she's a woman. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Have you seen the way she's made Russo look? Nah, mate. I'm not having that, man. Russo's basically the women's team's Gyökeres. So if she's unlocking Russo, Gyökeres has overperformed. Yes, he has, 100%. Gyökeres has overperformed. I don't know how he's done it in this system. I don't. Like, I love that man. I love him. He is a bit chunky, and by chunky I mean, like, he kind of moves, like, when he turns, his whole shoulder moves with him, right? But that guy has done incredible things in this system. What phase is Rennie Selegas in? Just asking for a friend. Exactly, my friend. Exactly, my friend. Facts, I don't care if it's a women's race, age, or Mr. fucking Blobby. Win me. Hey, listen, put some respect on Mr. Blobby's name, man. Don't make him the last option. It is facts. Fair play to you, Gunarukan, and fair play to you, Darkside. I appreciate you both. I don't care what colour, nationality, gender the managers. I want a winner. Yes, if Gunnosaurus can win us a trophy, get him in. Well, if Ozil's still paying his wages, he might be around, so you never know. All right. Guys, I think I'm going to wrap up here. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much, man. This is the longest stream I've ever done. And I appreciate having you guys in the chat to keep me going. If you haven't, please like, please subscribe. Gunarukan, I'm going to look you up. I'm pretty sure I am, but I'm going to double check. And guys, it's much love. This is the longest stream I've done, so I'm really happy. Appreciate you guys as always. And the answer is, before I finish, the answer is no. All right? No Judases. All right? Jesus didn't get up on a cross for Cesc to take charge of Arsenal, all right? But with that being said, take care of yourself and each other. Would be taking that's our next. But Gunarukan, man, come on, man. I want to start one Monday positively, all right? All right, guys, let me go in peace. Have a good one and take care.